What on earth we start with this week? Welcome back to Where Hatters Walk. We have got some very, very angry, frustrated, upset fans this week. That should not have happened in the way that it did. We've got Mark, Kevin, and Lewis back with us to try and unpick what the hell happened at the Hawthornes. And what does it mean? How quickly can Luton bounce back? Time to back Bloomfield? Let's hope so. And just, how do we quell this fans' anger ready for the next season? I'm not going to insult any of you by asking how you're feeling, Mark, but are you okay?
This is my 44th season, and as you can imagine, I've had lots of ups and downs, but in terms of disappointments, this is right up there with them. And the reason for that is we turned a corner the last couple of months. I was with a lot of fans before the game, and nobody was complacent, but there's a real buzz, a real confidence, the way that we'd been playing. And here's one for you. We conceded 5 goals in 54 minutes. We'd only conceded 5 in the previous 9 games. That just proves what the heck was happening. And I'm still in disbelief where that performance has actually come from. Bearing in mind, we've turned a corner and we're well drilled. We're, like I said, 5 goals in 9 games. We'd stopped conceding goals, and it's just I'm just trying to make sense of it. Like, as football fans, you can be very irrational and very emotional, but try and look at it logically. Is, as far as I'm concerned, that was the worst performance of the season, and we've saved it for the most important game of the season. I mean, I'm not going to call out people. Maybe the other guys want to. 'Cause at the end of the day, they're probably as hurt as much as we are, whether they are. But it's just and as raw as it is, there isn't any need to be abusive to anyone. It's just everyone was frustrated on Saturday. But it's just like none of us knew where that came from, and that's why we were confident. And don't forget, sorry for going on, but the other thing is West Brom their last 5 goals before Saturday came in 8 games. So it's taken them 8 games to score 5 goals, and then they get 5 in 54 minutes. We've conceded 5 in 9 games, and it's just I'm just like at a loss. But sorry for going on.
No, you're absolutely entitled to. Managerless West Brom, who lost the last 3, and you stopped Tom Fellows, you stopped West Brom. But Lewis, I feel I must start talking to you with an apology, because the last 3 times we've had you on here, I've been saying, come on, you need to adopt the positivity that's going around the club, and you've been absolutely darn right to say, no, you watch. You just watch. I know this club. I know what these players have been doing. So I apologise. You were right. How are you?
I hate being right. I honestly hate being right. I want the players to prove me wrong every week. Whenever I predict us to lose, I want them to, shut up, Lewis, and get me a win. But they don't. They just folded under pressure. No fight. I've spoken to a few West Brom fans, and they could not believe it. They thought they were the team that needed to win to stay up, and that don't make any sense. How we've allowed that to happen, and I stood there and I watched their reactions when they found out that we were relegated. I don't think half of them care, that's for me is the more worrying thing. They've got back-to-back relegations on your CV, which is quite rare to do in football, and they don't care.
It hurts even the more, Kevin, I think, knowing that Hull didn't beat Pompey, so a draw in that game, when all the results came in, would have been enough. What did you make of that first half performance in particular?
Well, first of all, let me also start by apologizing to Lewis once again. As much as he doesn't want to be right, he was right. I was thinking back to one of his videos 2 years ago where he was quite negative going into our second playoff game against Sunderland. And thank goodness the team proved him wrong then. The team didn't prove him wrong this year, unfortunately. So, Lewis, you were correct, unfortunately. And we are going down. I think, as much as I respect Mark and his opinions and his thoughts, I think we were complacent. It was quite interesting not only to see the fans on Twitter and on all the podcasts there, but even all the other podcasters and even national radios. They all had Preston going down. They thought Luton had 3 points in the bag. West Brom was going through a tough time. We were in excellent form. And I do think there was a bit of complacency, very similar to the Blackburn game. That game as well, we started to get a bit of form, and we thought Blackburn had nothing to play for. We'd walk over them, and it just didn't work that way. Blackburn came with a great game plan, and they were passionate on the day. And West Brom could have put out some of the youngsters on the field on Saturday. They didn't. They took it very seriously. All the lead up to the game as well was about them winning, finishing on a high. And I think that either caught us cold or we just choked. And that happens. I don't know why it happens. It's inexplicable. Mark is correct. We cannot explain it, but it is deeply sad. However, it's probably deserving. And just to answer your question as well, I think Hull were a lot closer to scoring many more goals than Pompey were anyway. They should have scored 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, you won't have seen the end of the Pompey game, I'm sure, because you were in the stands, but Portsmouth were making no effort, really, to score a second goal at all there. It was like we'll pass to you, we'll pass back, sadly. Right. Okay, let's try now flip it onto if we can, onto the future then. There's little point of us wallowing in our grief, but from a personal note, obviously I've grown very fond of talking to you guys on here each week, and we'll continue to do so, of course, next year in League One. As I'm certain with the money available to you that in terms of resources, you certainly stand out in League One now as the team that has the most potential to bounce back up. I don't see Cardiff having the same resources. Plymouth do not have the same resources, and Birmingham and Wrexham have come up. So really, other than perhaps, I don't know, Bolton maybe, or Charlton if they don't go up, you're a big fish now in a small pond. Do you see it that way, Lewis, or not?
There's no guarantee we go straight back up, and I've said it in my videos that if you want to go up, you've got to do not what Birmingham have done and spend that amount of money, but you've got to back it up. You've got to back it up in the summer. We can't repeat the summer which we had, because the summer window in the Championship was the reason why we've gone down. So we need to make sure we go into the season prepared and ready to go and hit the ground running. And the best way to do that is by getting your recruitment done early, bringing in good players in, but also get rid of players as well. Because I feel like the longer you've got players with back-to-back relegations on their CV, the harder it will be, because you still got that losing culture within the football club. And I feel like that needs to get out the door. It's not going to be easy, because not many clubs are going to want our players. But players don't want to play League One at the same time, so some will force a move. So hopefully they force the move, or we accept the low fee for them and just go, right, we need to rip up the plan and look ahead. But I've got full confidence in Matt Bloomfield. You saw what he did with Wickham. And as you've already mentioned, we've got, the resources, bigger attendances. So you'd like to think if he replicates what he did at Wickham, we could also, do something really similar.
Yeah, I got your tweet on that. Mark, I just want to see if you agree with what Lewis put out here. Back Bloomfield in the summer, build the team around January signings. Signings need to be early, cannot repeat last summer. And to replies to that, Lee said, yes, I completely agree with early signings. He should be wheeling and dealing today. Yeah, he wants the squad pretty much done before the start of pre-season. Anyone who even shows the tiniest bit of not wanting to be here can F the hell off. Contrary to that, Andy said, why would you give the current hierarchy a penny to spend? Kevin, I'll get your view on that in a second. But do you agree with what Lewis is saying there in principles?
Yes, I agree with it. I mean, first of all, I don't think we would have got to the stage of having it in our own control going into the last game if it wasn't for what Matt did. I mean, the turnaround since since Burnley, the last 9 games, and you're starting to see the way that Matt wants his team to play. But as Lewis said, we don't know the length of contracts people are on. It's very simplistic to say, "Oh, just get rid of them and get new players in." I mean, I saw a stat in terms of the turnaround of players that Burnley and Sheffield United had from last year, and it is that there has been a losing mentality around the club for a couple of seasons. But I do agree that Matt is, he's definitely, and I don't think he deserved the, obviously emotions were raw Saturday, but for what he's done and got us to within one game of staying up, I don't think he personally deserved the criticism on Saturday, but that's another thing. But yeah, definitely Matt will have his ideas of who he wants, and I think next year we'll go back to the back four. I think he was forced into playing the way he had to play this year because of the players that he had available. But I think he will know who he wants and the way he wants to play. He'll have a whole pre-season, get the business done early, and another thing we've got to improve on is the pre-season, like the quality of the pre-season games, and so that one of the reasons we didn't hit the ground running this year was because we had injuries carried forward from last year. We didn't have the intensity of the pre-season games, so we're just like, it's almost pre-season till October, and as Lewis said, we can't do that. We've got to be hitting the ground running from game one, because we can't lose 8 games of a 46-game campaign. And very quickly, the other thing is we're going to be in the Virtue Cup, or whatever it's called. We're not going to have international breaks. It's going to need a squad that's basically good to go, like more or less every week. I mean, if you thought Championship was a tough league, League One's going to be even harder.
Finally, on this thing, Kevin, there's obviously been some comments made towards Gary Sweet. You read that one there about why would you trust anyone with the money. Some of the more polite ones I'll publish here. Kieran says, I hope the vanity project is worth it, Gary. Mark says he's got the whole of the close season to count the money and look at pretty pictures of the new stadium. It's an incredible waste of an opportunity. It is shameful. Normally when a club gets relegated, you worry about your big players leaving. We'll be fine because we don't have any. It's a difficult one because, you say emotions are raw, and some people forget kind of what Gary Sweet has done for the club. We've got far worse owners in this league than Gary Sweet. But where do you stand on his accountability in what's happened over the last 8 months?
Look, I think it's easy to sit on the sideline and discuss any of us fans until, like they say, you're the man in the arena, until you're in that position and you have many things to juggle. I don't think it's easy for us to judge. Guys like that normally look at a 5 to 10 year plan, not only a year plan. Now, the stadium should be built in 3 years' time. Possibly he's trying to get the team ready for that, whether it's back into the Championship or challenging high in the Premier League. Time will tell. The proof will be in the pudding. He has done great work, very similar to Rob Edwards. He's got a lot of credit in the bank. It might be all doom and gloom now. It's like we're talking our eulogy at our own funeral. However, things change quickly. 12 years ago, we were going to Manchester City. Soon we'll be going to Mansfield. But as quickly as it goes down, it can change as well. So let's not judge too soon. Let's see. 2 years can be disastrous, but in another 2 years, we could be out of your podcast and into a Premiership podcast. Who knows? And I'm going to keep positive. This team has seen worse days, and that's the good thing. We keep coming back.
God bless you, Kevin, for your positivity. It's even the rawest of difficult weekends, you still seem to smile. Listen, thank you all so much. I'm not going to insult you and ask you who you want to go up in the playoffs, because you'll care less about playoffs and who's coming the other direction. But all I will say is just, keep smiling. Your humour throughout this has been noted. I'm as shocked as I'm sure you are. We will be back on Where Hatters Walk in 2.5 months' time, looking ahead to League One, and I suspect this will be a very brief 1 year vacancy from the Championship, and we'll be seeing you back beating Watford in at least 12 months' time. Lewis, can you be positive? I know there's no positives to take it, but can you look at that league and take some solace that you've got everything going for you to get out? A good manager, good resources. You just need the players that want to commit.
If we get the recruitment right, I back us, because I do think the league's not as strong as it was this season. So I think League One's got weaker. So I do think that in that sense, it's a good opportunity, but it's only a good opportunity if you make the most of it in the summer. So fingers crossed we get the place through. I'm not asking the club to spend 20 million. I'm not asking, to spend ridiculous amount of money, but I'm asking the club to bring the right characters through the door, make sure we go into that first game with all areas covered, majority of the squad fit, and just ready to go and hit that ground running. And by the end of the season, hopefully back where I believe where we belong, which is the Championship.
Well said. Mark, we'll give the final word to you.
Yeah, I really agree with what Lewis has said, that every season all the fans say, right, this is an important window, preparing for the season. I just think this is a massive window, and it's a good chance to rebuild and to refocus, and just basically what I want is 9 months of like playing the Luton way, and as opposed to the last 2 months that we had, with the exception of Saturday. And I believe we've got the right man in place. And on the Gary Sweet thing, then I totally back him. He's going to be the manager that delivers the new stadium, whether people like it or not. That is the club's future. I mean, we had our 140-year anniversary. Well, Gary Sweet and the team are securing our future, which is massive. And just finally, you've given me the final word. Just thank you to you, Mark, for it's despite the football not being great, it's been great to join you every week, and I know how much work's involved to get these shows going. And thank you for everything you've done to make these shows enjoyable.
Thank you. I feel I've aged a little bit. Talking about Luton, but we'll give you 2.5 months off to go and rest, repair, and we'll see you back here in the end of July as we head into League One. Thank you all so much for all the comments you've given, all the support, all the likes, subscribing. Obviously, you've got Lewis's amazing channel as well. Go and look at his video from Monday. I've watched it this morning. Incredibly emotional. Lewis, how you didn't get through that without shedding some sort of tear, but your passion is really welcome. Thank you, Kevin, for doing this from a different country as well. Thank you, Sam and Dan as well, for everyone that's chipped in to this amazing content. We'll see you on the other side of the summer. Have a great break, everyone. Thank you, Mark.